Okay, we start. Today we will talk about organizations. One logistic thing that I'd like to anticipate, Cass is asking to three of you to add your email when the signing form is already going around. I think it's on this part, but then it will come there. And three of you needs to give their email address. So try to write in a clear way so that after that we should have the complete database. Because this is something we need for the next step, so quite relevant. Today we talk about organizations. I would say a bit more a traditional type of lecture. Still, we will do in the IBICT way, so you will intervene very much, I would say. So this is to give some sort of. There are some lectures, as you have seen, especially in the past ones with Milena and with Lorenzo, where we sort of diverge. There are some which are more like business related, which are good to give some basic or better, a basic understanding of some terms and some concepts that come out when you do startup or business development, or in general when you do business. One of these concepts is organization. We'll talk about what is an organization, and then you want to ask something? No. And we will do this with Massimiliano. I will start with the first part of the presentation, and then I will give floor to Massimiliano for the second part. There will be a break in between, so don't worry. First, organization. What comes to your mind if we talk in general about organization? Or an organization.
We have roles.
Roles?
Peoples
with roles. Other? A hierarchy. This is something, yes, that we saw also in the past lessons. Some sort of part of these concepts. A process. Okay, a process. Okay. An organization is characterized from a process. A process that tells the people how to work. Okay? So it's related sort of work. Other things that comes out to your mind with the term organization? What is an organization in your view?
It needs a common goal.
It's a common goal. Very good. An organization has a goal. Absolutely. Instructions related to the roles and to the people who are in the organization. Okay?
Structure.
A structure. Roles are related to the structure of the organization. Very good. Okay. An organization. Is it public? Is it private? Is there anything that tells you what an organization is? Is there a preference? If it comes to your mind, the term organization, is it a public one or is it a private one? Both. Exactly. An organization is a wide concept. Anything that has a structure, and now we will see later as a sort of, it has a legal form, can be named as an organization. So we go to the rationale of this. An organization is, as you were saying, trying to set up a group of people. Most of organizations are a group of people. An organization of a single person in Italy is a libero professionista, is a person with a partita IVA, so it has a VAT number that characterizes her work, but it works alone. While an organization is a group of people, so it has to be organized. This came out from you. People are there, a structure is there, roles should be entangled from an organization. There are some ideal type of organization. So organizations in general are not like 100 types, but there are a few of them. We will see later. Because along the years, the way of working within an organization has defined some families of organization or types of organization. They serve for, they have an objective. Someone said, oh, an organization has a target to do. You establish an organization because you want to do something, not because you don't know how to spend time. If you want to do for leisure, you set up an association, which is still an organization. So the objective of the association is an organization that tells you how to spend your free time. Which purpose they serve for is what we were saying now. How do they relate to innovation? What do you think is the relation of an organization and innovation? This is a step forward, let's say. Why we talk about an organization, as the major topic of this course is entrepreneurship and innovation. Dig a bit on your mind, you will find something.
Organization is essential for practical implementation of that innovative idea, or to make that idea realize into practical thing.
Okay.
There is a need of coordination.
Okay, that's good already. The purpose of a company is to do something. The company has a mission. So, if the company does R&D, its mission is to create innovation. Already a first step, what he was saying. The second point that he was saying, and related to this, is that if you want to do innovation, you can have the idea. But if you want to bridge this idea to the market, so bridge and make it a product or a service, it's pretty difficult that you are able to do alone. Most of the times. You can invent a new game, if you like gaming, and you simply write code. But at a certain point, you finish the prototype of your game. And then you need to sell it, to let the people know about your game. And one day has 24 hours. And you cannot work for more than 24 hours a day, and you need also to sleep. So you need someone that allows you to bring this game to the market. And that's why we come up with an organization. You need a set of people, a group of people, a team of people that brings this to the market. Okay, another aspect of an organization and innovation. For example, what do you think is better to do innovation if you are an organization? So the relation between an organization and innovation. Yes. If you do gaming,
there will be more number of people who can give their inputs to get into.
okay. So the largest you are, the more complex innovation you can do.
I mean, kind of. You can have more expertise
From expertise from your team behind, from the team that works in the company. That's good. So the level of innovation is also related to the organization you need to set up to bridge it to the market. Not all innovation need to have Siemens bridging it to the market. Not all innovation are related to a Siemens type of, so a corporate type of organization or company. Entrepreneurship, I think we talked a bit about entrepreneurship as a baseline. We say that this lesson is a bit more traditional one in the sense that it gives the baseline, but it is relevant also for you. We think it is good for you to know how a company works. So now I move to another word, which is company. We will see them later. How a company works, for your own knowledge. At a certain point, maybe if you do not build your startup, you will go and work for someone. And so the concept of entrepreneurship is exactly that. You hear your learning skill that allows you to be better hireable from a company. And so this becomes something useful for your entrepreneurship skills. And in this case, knowing how a company structures allows you better to go to the colloquium and have a better idea where you are going, with whom you are discussing. If you are going to a corporate, most of the times, the first colloquium is with HR, human resources. They don't know anything about technical things, most of the times. So if you try to make yourself sexy by talking about coding in Python, that is not the right person to talk to, because you will get lost in 30 seconds. And so that's also relevant for you to know how a company is made, what is the structure of the company, so that you know with whom you are talking. And this is even true if you are going to open a startup. If you are going to open a startup, you are the boss of the startup. Let's say you are the CEO, so the chief executive officers or the guy that decides what to do in the company. You need to have an idea how to structure a company yourself, or you have to ask someone to help you in order to understand how a company is made. So, long introduction. Definition of the organization, we sort of already discussed this. This is taken from the Oxford American Dictionary. So, first, an organized body of people with a particular purpose, this case, especially a business, society, association. For example, a research organization. Business, society, association, several types, both private, not private. So this is very general. A research organization, for example, is Fondazione Bruno Kessler. For those of you who like to make stages, elsewhere and to work as an intern, for example, the research organization Fondazione Bruno Kessler has a lot of things related to information and communication technology, even to software development. They have several groups working on that. So an organization is intended also as a research organization. For example, FBK is a public research organization. Then the organization is also the action of organizing something. The organization of conferences. This is another, just to mention, that is another meaning. The structure of or arrangement of related organizing items, or an efficient and orderly approach to task. Organization is also intending as a more general term to say this room is well organized. It has an organization because all the rows are on this side, and all the people are looking at the professor or the lecturer that gives them. So this is also another concept that is less relevant for the concept of the company that we mean. It is nice to see that organized means also rational. So an organization usually should be rational and have a way of working which is understandable. Business. We go a step forward. There is it is interesting to see also that the terms business, this is Wikipedia October 1 week ago, October this year. The concept of business is sort of evolving, because later on in the next slide I kept a slide there. You will see the definition of business last year and 3 years ago. The concept of business is evolving in itself, but this is interesting because this is a concept that as long as technology comes out, also the word itself adapts to the concept that evolves. So business, in short, is the activity of making one's living or making money by producing or buying and selling products such as goods and services. So the business activity of making one's living or making money by producing and selling or buying and selling products. Producing and selling means you make this chair and you sell this chair. Buying and selling means you buy flowers in the fields, you have your own flower shop, and you sell flowers in your shop. In that case, you are a commercial type of business. In the first time, you are a producer, you are an industry. Any activity or enterprise which enter into for profit, so a business usually considered a for-profit company, this is very relevant. And it is any kind of company. A company, a corporation, a partnership, as a formal organization that range from a street peddler to General Motors. You know what is a street peddler? Venditore ambulante. So, that is a business. Even if you sell flowers at the corner of the road with your Apple card, you have a business because you buy flowers and you sell products. So it's a very wide type of concept. There is some even legal part related to this. Having a business name does not separate the business entity from the owner. So, the owner of the business is responsible and liable for debt incurred in the business. So, if you are running a business, you are the people and you are the owner of this business, you are responsible for whatever happens to that business. You are responsible of buying the stuff and selling it at the market, but if you have like employees, you are also responsible to pay the bill, to pay the wages of these people. This is a bit more, let's say, advanced. So, if the business acquired debt, let's say you go to the bank, you ask for 1,000 euro because you have to buy flowers to the farmer, or the orchard, whatever, the fruit to the orchard, and then you sell it. You ask 1,000 euro, they lend you the euro and you are responsible to give it back to the bank. So the people who is in charge of the company has liability to the debts of that, which is an important part. A business structure, well, this is less relevant. There are taxes, we will see later on when we change the concept. The proprietor is personally taxed. Also here, the business of taxes is quite relevant for this. The term is also used colloquially. So the term business means also not an established firm, but a business as I have a business, I am a consultant. I put into contact a buyer and the seller. In that case, it is considered in an informal way. We say this because there is a definition of company, which is even a step forward. It is a better conceptualization of the word business. I would stop here for the definition of the 2019. Maybe it's interesting to see the 2018 definition is almost the same. It changed a bit the layout, so there are some change in the definition, but it's practically the same. In 2016, it was quite different. Here, the big difference was that the definition was a bit simpler. It's an organizational entity involved in the provision of goods and services. Now they say you produce and sell, or you buy and sell, which is a strong difference. And they were also saying businesses may also be social non-profit enterprises, which now disappears. So the part of non-social enterprises, the concept of business is less relevant to that because they are non-profit. So in that sense, the business is not the major part of it. There are laws which depend on countries, but these we will see later on in the company. And also they say that business can refer to a market sector, the business of oil, the business of producing soil. So this is also the concept of a business as a market sector in general. The business of fruit or fruit trading. You buy fruit in Chile and you export it to Europe. So the business segment or the business sector or the business sector or the market sector. In those there are similarities in concepts. Okay, one good thing here is that the goal is not written in the new definition. The goal is for sales to be more than expenditures. So to have a business, you need to spend less than what you get in being paid. And so I think it's good to go to company. Company is a better way to crystallize the idea of a business. Also here, taken from Wikipedia, and in this case the definition practically is the same the last 3-4 years. These definitions do not change. So a company is more a fixed type of concept. A company is a legal entity. While a business can be something that you arrange without incorporating an organization, in the case of a company, the company is incorporated. So it is a legal entity. You know the difference of physical person and legal person? Who knows the difference between legal person and physical person? Raise your hand. Okay, a few. Can you tell?
No, sorry, I heard the question.
Okay. Anyone that is willing to answer this? Okay, no worries. So a physical person is each of us. We are a physical person. We are a physical people. So a physical person is a name and a surname. A person itself, himself or herself. A legal person is a uniquely identified entity which can represent an association, an organization, a business, a company. So it is not that this company is a person in physical terms. It doesn't have arms, head, but it is immediately identifiable from the state, the nation where that company is incorporated. This is quite strong because as we as people have rights and duties, both of them, a company has rights and duties. So a company has been invented as a way for a state to know who is producing goods and services and the welfare of a country. Is making real a sort of abstract concept. An aggregation of people, which is in general an abstract concept, becomes real because there is an identification number, a VAT number, a registration number at the Chamber of Commerce that identify a company. So a company is liable for what it does. This is very, very true for the fact that the company at the end of the year prepare a balance sheet and has to pay taxes. So the trick of all is the fact that a company, when you start a company at the end of the year, they check your bills, they say that if you declare whatever you're going to have as incomes, and you pay taxes based on your activity. That's why they call it a legal person. It's not a person, but it's a person. This is a concept that is good to understand because it brings also other consequences. So it is made up of an association of people. They can be natural. So a company can be made of natural people or legal people. A company has a group which are called shareholders, in Italian soci, who incorporate a company. So 3 of you can create a company. You go to the Chamber of Commerce, you make all the procedure, or you can do even online. If you do an innovative startup, you can do it even online. 3 of you, each of you, I want to do the technical, the CTO. I want to do the managing director. I want to do the commercial part. So 3 of you, each one of you has his role, and you decide to found the company, to incorporate the company, and each of you has 33.3% of the company. The 33.3% of the company, tells how much shares of the company you have. And the shares are related to the capital of the company, capitale sociale. So shareholders of a company, so this 100% of the company can be among 3 people, 33, or it can be that you know a company that wants to invest in you, And so part of this share can be owned from Siemens. I don't know. Siemens get 20% of your company, and the other three guys each get the remaining part of the 80% which is left. So that's why they say that the company governance is made of people, or which are the owners, or it can be made also from companies plus people. For example, Fiat Group, Fiat Chrysler Automobile, most of the shares are owned from Exor, which is the treasury company of the family who invented Fiat, which is the Agnelli family. Part of the capital is given to banks because they invest in the company, because year by year the stock should increase in value, and so they get revenues and they are able to sell at a higher price. Part of the shares are owned from private people. I can go on Fineco or on my bank and I can buy shares of Fiat because they are in the stock exchange. So people as you can be part of the capital of Fiat. Okay, so a company is a legal entity for carrying on a commercial buy and sell or industrial product and sell services or products. Company members share a common purpose. Also here is like we said in an organization. A company is an organization. It has a purpose, a mission to be accomplished. Selling cars or selling flowers. And unite people in order to let them work together, and the more talents you have, the better it is. They organize themselves so that all the skills are well used. Everyone should do their own task. Human resources, they try to analyze that when they do the colloquium to you, why they do colloquias to people like you are the right person to go and work for that company. Purchase department ensures that all the production line has these pieces of the car to be built, and whatever. So all the part of the company has its own task. They take various forms. They can be even voluntary association, business entities, financial entities, and banks. These are the most general ones. So this is again what we said, a legal person. The creation of a company is done in front of the state. Italy's government knows, especially the fiscal Ministero dello Sviluppo Economico and Ministero dell'Economia, they knows that you exist, and they ask you bills at the end of the year. So a company can accept limited liability. So there are forms of organization that allows you to, this is a bit more complicated, but società a responsabilità limitata or società per azioni, they have a company capitale sociale, and the asset of the company. So if they go bankrupt, the shareholders can take only debt. If you have a company which is società nome collettivo, società comandita semplice, other type of companies, these are called companies, società personali. You have a certain capital amount in your company, but if you create debts, they take what is in the company and they come to you and take what you have. You understand? Your house. Okay? So there are type of companies where the liability of the companies is limited to what they have in the bank, in the capital, and in assets. There are other type of companies where, on top of that, they come, in case of bankrupt, which hopefully is not going to happen, and they take your house, your car, and whatever is your personal belonging. That is good. In case you are going to open a company, just think a bit on this. So, civil responsibility, taxation. Taxation is very limited. Everything is done. All this complication is done because no, it's not a complication. We need to have rules, of course, but this is mostly done because of taxation. there is a birth certificate or statuto that tells what the company does. Company as legal person, they can associate and register them collectively as other companies, and this is called a corporate group. Tell me example of a corporate group. We quoted it last week when we were discussing about some role model for startuppers or company founders. A corporate company. What is a corporate company that comes to your mind? Alphabet. Very good. That was the example I had. Alphabet is the transformation of Google. Google originally was Google. Well, Alphabet originally was Google. And Google started buying Uber or starting buying the thermostat. Nest. Nest. And so they had some participation in other. They were legal entities. They were legal entities participating in other companies. Legal person participating in other companies, participating in Nest, participating in Uber. Then they decided to rebrand Google, the capofila, the biggest company, let's say the root company, and they transform it in Alphabet. And then they created a Google under them. Okay? So Alphabet is the corporate. Other example of corporate, if you have any?
Team system.
Team system. Team system, yes, because this system has a lot of other control company. Even the same Facebook is corporate because it has other companies under control. If you ever close, hopefully not, you need to have a debt certificate, which is the declaration that your company is closed. Otherwise, you have a lot of people that comes run against you to pay the bills. Okay? How a company work? Well, here is interesting to say that a company. Other word for company. Business, yes, we said before. Fair, enterprise. So there are several names to name it. Business is the bigger one, as a type of concept, there are other names. But is a social entity, stable form of human organization. It's stable. It has birth as a physical person. It lives, it evolves. It does something good, maybe it does something bad. And maybe at a certain point, the company as a person, in fact. It realized goods and services, giving it to the consumers in exchange for other goods, services, or money. So we start from here. You set up your own company where you make the best game in the last century. You start with some teammates of yours or founders like you. You create this amazing new game. You sell it. You realize it. So with your skill, you realize the game. You give it to the consumer. You put it on the Google, the Play storage system, app system, and then people download it. They pay you a lot, and then they pay you money. You receive money. Some here you consider also as a way back payment, also being paid with other goods. For example, an example could be that you're producing chairs made of wood, so you need to buy the wood to someone, and instead of paying them with cash, you pay them with shares because this wood company needs share in that moment. But you can be paid back in goods. Usually you are always paid with money, of course. And then this comes back to you, and all the people who invented this amazing new game get paid. They get paid quite a lot. Okay, so this is the circle that is typical in the company. more in general, a company is defined with a is structured in a organized, I would say. Is organized in what is called the value chain, which is a way where you see the flow of this product. So this flow that we saw before has a certain steps to go forward. The basic need of a company is to create economic value. Otherwise you don't remunerate not only yourself but also not only the employees that you hire, but you don't pay also yourself. So you should create an added value. This circle should create something that what goes out here is to create this is in terms of economic value lower than what you sell here. Because if you create this beautiful chair and the resource, your time as an employee, plus the wood, plus the iron or metal or whatever it is, or plastic, cost 150 euro, and you sell it for 100, you are losing 50 euro. It's not sustainable. So you should be sure that you create economic value. Otherwise, the business is not, the company is not, it cannot sustain itself. So you exploit available resources, which is cash, people, technology, materials, to transform inputs, component, materials, know-how, in output that are sold to the market. In summary, for the company features, legal person is what we saw before. A company is identified. It has a VAT number that identify the company wherever in the world. IT plus number of VAT number tells which company you are in Italy, because there is the IT in front of the number. So you can sell, for example, all around Europe with your VAT number. It has a mission. It has a structure, which should be relatively stable, means that then the company may evolve. You start in 3 people, but then your game is so successful that you want to do the release number 2, and so you hire 5 good people, 2 designers, 2 user experience guys, and 1 developer, because the rest is developed from you. And so you create a second version, a second release of the app, which is sold at a higher price to a larger number of people. So relatively stable means that the company itself evolves. Formalized, usually is formalized, so there is a CEO, there is someone who is responsible for the commercial part. It evolves in time, and it has a set of functions. Activities, task, which is sort of repetitive. This is a bit relevant in the sense that a company established with a certain focus or mission, if you are creating chairs, and all your life your company has created chairs, it's not that tomorrow you get up and you say, oh, today I go gaming design. So a company tries to reiterate what it is able to do. If you're good in making chairs, you change the design, but you're very good at, you know the wood, you know the plastic to build a chair. And so you try to evolve your product and to make a new one. If you're working on ICT, you know how to do code, so you do a certain product, and then you try to evolve on that. So you try to reiterate, so to minimize the change requested for your workforce to adapt to new things. Because the more you are able to reiterate and sell the same chair, you have designed and you have spent 1,000 euro for the designer, 2,000 euro for the prototype, and then each chair costs you 50 euro. If you sell 10, 50 euro times 10, you get 500. If you sell 10,000, the design has been done, the prototype has been done, you simply add the cost of a single entity, so the wood needed, but the markup you do on the single cost pays you the investment you have done before. So the more you are able to sell things that you are already been doing, the more competitive advantage you make. This is called standardization of cost or standardization of resources. Typically, let's see at what Airbnb does. Airbnb set up a platform which cost maybe billions, not order of billions, but cost quite a lot. But the more houses enters and the more people book houses, the more you sell with the same product. Then the product is evolving. But the basic product is there. And all the investment that has been done in the past to create that platform is being paid year by year because you simply maintain it. And the new fees that the people renting the house and the people renting as a customer and renting it as those who is the owner pays fees, and this pays back something which is being developed in the past. So the more you are able, if you are a consultancy and you are very good to do the balance sheet at the end of the year, you can do the balance sheet for all this class or for one of you. You can do this balance sheet to a company, and the more time you have, you are able to do balance sheets which are almost the same to the other companies. So you specialize on a certain function and you try to iterate on that to augment as much as more the income for you, without needing to lose time in learning new things, in short. So that's why here we say set of activity tasks with similar characteristic. If you are always work on wood, better for you to stay on wood. And because you know better that you know how to cut wood, you have all the instruments to cut wood, and you don't need to invest in laser cutters because you are not working with metal, you are only working with wood. So that's, I don't know if this is clear. Then the activities are derived on the basis of objectives breakdown. Value chain. Value chain is defined from Porter, is one of the very relevant concepts in economy, in business. So the value chain is able to disassemble, to divide in several parts the function of a company or strategic activities or business unit. So each business unit has got its stuff to do that can be related to design, produce, sell, deliver, and support the usage. And the value chain is a representation of such activities. It was invented from Porter in the 60s, so it is quite an old concept, which is, some people is even trying to see something new on this business, but we think that this is still a strong concept to understand. It aims at understanding the cost driver, where you spend within a company. You can do this also on business modeling, but here is more precise. And at the end of the day, you are able to set up a successful company if you have an added value, if you are able to obtain a value added to what you produce. Let's see it. Okay, competitors. Maybe some other people are doing the same, but if you're able to get a greater added value, you can defeat or be better than your competitor, which is relevant. This is the value chain. So the picture of value chain is this. And there are primary activities. Why do you think they are called primary activities?
Because take direct value to the final product.
They create the final product. Okay. While the support activities can be seen more as horizontal type of activities. Administration function for everything. Okay, there is primary activities is how you get the wood and the plastic and the iron to create the chair. Operation, making the product. Operation is all the making of it. This is not a commercial. This is not a commercial company. If it has operations, if it would be Amazon, could be that operations are not in place. The company would be still the same, but operation would not be there because Amazon do not make, apart from robots or let's say Amazon e-commerce. Outbound logistic, you start selling it because you have assembled the new Dell PC. Okay. You have assembled the new Dell PC and then you want to sell it. So you need to send it to the customer. Marketing and sales. So you have to sell that product and so you publish it. And then you have the customer service. These are all primary activities because are related to the production, delivery of that delivery and support services of that product there or that share. The support activities are firm infrastructure, which is those who take care, for example, of the heating, which here doesn't work. Of the heating, of the cooling, which here doesn't work. So the infrastructure is the infrastructure. The infrastructure is the place of the factory. You need energy to the factory. You need maybe Wi-Fi. You need machines. You need maintenance. Infrastructure is also the maintenance. If you have a laser cutter, you need to maintain. Human resources management, hiring people and getting to work with them. Technology development, which is the R&D. Sometimes here you have also the IT is considered there. Information technology of a company. And the procurement. Procurement means buying the stuff that goes here and eventually, most of the time is related to the inbound. So logistic procurement is, for example, for a university, the procurement buys 3,000 of these chairs because 4 faculties or 4 departments in Trento has this type of chairs. So they make a tender. They ask people, provide me these chairs because I need 3,000 in 4 different buildings of my university. They receive the offer and then they decide that this is good enough with the quality that they need and the lowest price. And so that is the procurement. They buy the chairs and someone from the firm infrastructure come and drill the holes and fix them on the. So here there is a better definition of primary activities and support activities, but I think they are quite clear. There are questions or primary or on the. There are questions on this picture. Well, of course, at the end of everything, the margin. So if you imagine to write the cost of what you buy, the cost of creating the product or service, the cost of delivering it, the cost of letting the people know that this product exists, the service, and the cost of these 4, and you write the cost inside here, this can be used in order to understand in your company how much you're going to spend for the procurement, how much you're going to spend for the firm infrastructure. So you have a picture of what are the centri di costo, the cost centers in big companies. And to be able to understand at what price you need to sell your product, your 100 products or 1,000 products per year. So to have this positive and not negative, otherwise you don't get enough money. What do you think here are the centri di costo, the expenditure centers which are more relevant for the company? Where do you think goes out more money here? Someone raising the hand? You can guess. I mean, you have like 9.
Marketing.
Sorry?
Marketing.
Marketing. Marketing is usually expensive, especially in which type of companies marketing is expensive.
I'd like to say video games, maybe.
Sorry?
I'd like to say
Video games. a bit more. So, why do you think, in which type of company you think marketing is relevant?
Company that sell directly to clients, for example.
Okay.
And not to other company.
Okay, right. So people who sell to customers, let's say, customers who are the wider audience. So this is called B2C. We will see in the next lectures. A business-to-business company is a company that produce wood and give it to the chair producer. So it doesn't sell the chair to you for your home or to the university to install here, but it sells to another business. This is called B2B. I sell something to a business, and this other business take what I sell him, transform it into a product, and sell it to the final customer. If I sell to a final customer, it's called B2C, business to customer. And in that case, it means that you are selling to the final product. For example, L'Oreal, Mila Latte, Cartel producing chairs. These are all companies that sell to a final product, to a final customer. These are B2C. And so in that case, why do you think the price of marketing is higher? Easy.
It's very competitive.
To stay competitive, but because you need to know that the final customer know you. Otherwise, they don't buy your chair. Instead, if you are buying to a business, if you are selling wood, food for chair, you search for the 100 companies that in Italy builds chairs with wood, and you go to them and you ask each of them, do you want my wood? You don't need a lot of marketing, okay? Instead, if you need to sell this chair to the 63 million Italian citizens, you need to do a lot of advertisement and marketing, because the 63 million users, potential customers, need to know that you exist. Ever known about poltrone sofa? Ever heard? Who doesn't know poltrone sofa? You don't know poltrone because you are from the Netherlands. Poltrone sofa, they make an advertisement on TV every 3 seconds. So they spend huge money in marketing. Huge money. But because they want to sell the divano, the sofa, the coach to the family. This is a B2C, just to understand. If you are producing the wood that poltrone sofa use for their coach, maybe you don't do advertisement at all, because they do for you. So you sell the wood through them, and that's all. Okay, I would say that marketing very high. Another place where you could spend a lot of money. Another area, another sector, another activity. Let's say that you are in industry, so you're not a commercial entity.
Inbound logistics.
Inbound logistics, okay, that can cost a lot.
Consider inside all the original
Yes, the wood, the iron, cast, the plastic, whatever. Another?
Technology development.
That is borderline. There are some companies who doesn't do R&D, but all of the company has to design the first product, so they have done that. But this depends a lot on how much cash flow you have. The more cash flow you have, the more you are able to do R&D. So you need to be wealthy to do R&D. I saw another someone else willing to answer here.
The human resources.
Human resources
Because
usually
you have to pay your workers.
Yes, okay.
So the fact is that a lot of industry goes away from a place where pay the people that work cost more. So
Okay.
I guess it's a huge.
It's a huge. No, okay, but usually human resources take care only of hiring people and managing their career into a company. There are some companies, for example, a small to medium enterprise of 10 people, they don't even have the human resources because they don't need. But usually it's only the task of hiring people and managing how they develop along their career. So for one human resource, you can manage easily 50 to 100 people with one person at human resource. So usually that's not so high, because it's not the cost of counterfeiting the brain drain, but it's only the cost of the person.
So what is the activity where you pay the people for the job?
Good question. You should know. What? Operations. This was the answer.
Okay.
Operations is the part of the activity that creates the chairs, or that creates the Facebook platform, or creates the Spotify platform. It is done inside the operations. If you will work as software developer in any company, you could be in the IT, but if you are software development in a company that does a product, you work here. Most of you, if you will become an employee, you will work in the operations. You will work in the operation even if you open your startup, because for the first 1 or 2 years you will be coding, if you don't want to open a startup on innovative flowers. Okay? So operation is usually the most expensive one. Because there is where you realize the product. Well, okay, there are some, but this will be discussed from him. There are some companies like fashion companies. Name one: Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Usually they externalize part of the production. They take the product which is semi-lavorato, is semi-finished product into their factory. They do the last finishing and then they sell it on their shops. And so in that case, there is a lot of inbound logistics, but a lot of costs are externalized. And so doing the final finishing is expensive because the workers in Europe cost maybe more than in the original countries where this semi-finished product is done. But in that case, the operation are a lot of them are demanded to external suppliers. But this is a specific type of business. And I would say that we do 5 minutes break and then 5 minutes, no more. So 45 here, please.
Okay, so we can start, I guess. In this second part, we are going to talk a bit about the organization, the structure of the organizations. Okay, so as Andrea told before, there are some, let's say, characteristics of the organization. One of them is the structure, and the other one are the functions. Okay, so before we get actually into the details, at the beginning of the in the very first class, I guess, Milena told you something about the differences between open and closed innovation, right?
Who remembers?
Okay, so
I don't remember. I remember that she said about something about
Okay.
slight memory of.
at least it is something. So anyone will remember something?
What do you think is open innovation?
Wow.
You need to add the word open to innovation.
Some idea? Yeah?
Open innovation is probably research made on research center that's after sell to external external business because normally our business contact this research center for buy these technologies. Instead, closed innovation is normally made on research and development labs inside the same company. So like Fiat Research FC Research Center, or and normally they are made specifically for a determined product.
Okay, any other idea? Wow. Okay, are you alive maybe? Yeah, more or less. Okay, good. So we can actually simplify everything by saying that one of them is, let's say, a shared knowledge point of view, okay, while the other is a bit closer. So here in the open innovation model, everything that is created in terms of knowledge is usually shared somehow, while here it is not. Okay. So if we try to map this concept into the organization, we can say that in a closed innovation environment, okay, usually the companies what they want to do is to make their own product. Okay, so what they try to do is to take inside the company every single piece of the value chain that Andrea showed you. So it tried to minimize the dependencies, okay, with eventually other companies or other person. But of course, if you think about it, to succeed in something like that, I have to, let's say, create a very complex and fixed structure. Okay, so in this term, there are some lack in the flexibility. While in the open innovation model, what companies try to do is to integrate this kind of shared knowledge, okay, so the knowledge created by other individuals, okay, inside the company by using them. So in terms of advantages, I'm completely flexible because basically my structure and my model depend also on other actors, okay. While the disadvantages is that it creates some kind of instability. Of course, it is clear that actually you cannot use the same structure for your company if you are in a closed innovation environment and if you are in an open innovation environment. Okay, and there are some well-defined models, and the first one is this, the functional organization. So, from what you understood, is this model more related to a closed innovation environment or an open innovation environment? Yeah. So the closed one, as he proposed. So this is a clear example of a structure that can work in a closed innovation innovation model. Okay. What do we have? So some characteristic. What can you see? I mean, you can drive everything from this picture. Yes, please.
We have a hierarchy.
Yeah.
So somebody to stay at the top and somebody to stay at the bottom.
Okay. Any other idea? Okay, cool. So let's create this. We are going to talk about environment in the next classes, but what is environment in your opinion, just by definition? Yes. Exactly. It is what surrounds you. Okay. So in terms also of certainty and uncertainty. So in terms of understanding whether I will be able to succeed with my product or not. Okay. So what this kind of organization try to do is to establish a hierarchy first of all, and you can see usually there is a president which is above all the other managers. Then let's say the tasks are divided into subgroups. So, for example, in a software company, you can find the software development department, the documentation group, okay, team, sorry, and the manufacturing team. And eventually, if needed, This group are further divided into unit. So, which is the goal of this model is to minimize this uncertainty. How does it work? So, whenever you put a product in this pipeline, in this structure, you start with a lot of uncertainty, right? Because when you start from the idea that should be approved or not by the president, you have no clue whether this idea, this software again, if it is a software company, will succeed or not in the market. Okay, so what you start to do is to divide the tasks so that whenever you put like your app or your game inside the market, you minimize the uncertainty because it is still possible that just some part of these units fail. Okay, in the market. Is it clear more or less? Okay, so about the value chain that Andrea showed you. If I start a company and I use this functional organization, which are the impacts on the value chain? So, what I can K, which are the parts that, in your opinion, I can maximize? Any idea?
Sorry, maximize what?
I mean, which part of this value chain should be impacted more by a model like the hierarchy?
More uncertainty.
Sorry.
More uncertainty.
At the beginning, so that's what I try to minimize. So the impacted part here is the the producement in the end, right? Okay, so this is the goal in the end of the functional organization. But which are the limits that you can see here? So there is a big limit.
Flexibility.
Yeah, okay, the flexibility, exactly. So this is how can we sum up this slide before? So the flexibility is actually a huge problem of that model, and then some researchers find out that if I try to map actually this model to a divisional one, I can. Well, it's not that I achieve the flexibility problem, because still there are some flexibility issues here, but at least it's say less important. Okay, so how does it work basically? The idea here is that the uncertainty now depends only on a product. So there is a precedent as before, okay, and then each single product now is assigned to actually a division. And what can you? Which are the features of this model in your opinion? Yeah.
We have different. We have different product, of course, with let's say different subgroups for each products that take care of the same things. I mean, each products have to do the same things, but it's divided. Like we have product A with research and development, management, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, okay.
Same for product B, same for product C, and same for product D. So
Okay.
basically-
Yeah, that's great. So they are different products, and so which is the limit, the main limit that you can see?
If one product works or not, I guess.
Okay, yeah, that's great. But there is also another point that you can see there are some redundancy here. Okay, so it is true that now we solve the problem of the flexibility because now the flexibility is assigned to a specific product. Okay, but at the same time now the problem that I have is that I have multiple teams doing the same stuff, and so basically I spend a lot of resources to guarantee this this division model. So now, in your opinion, how can I try to solve such a problem? This kind of
I think that one should value common parts of its product. Maybe saying, okay, we can merge the marketing of product A, B, because some stuff can be merged.
Yeah.
Some issues are common.
Yeah, great.
So it makes sense to work like that.
So, yeah, again, in order to... and I forgot, it is still a top-down decision, right? It is clear because there is the president here, then there are the division, and usually here are not represented, but there are also the head of the division and so on and so forth. So it's still a top-down approach. And to actually solve the redundancy, the researchers did exactly what Eros said, and so they created a matrix actually. The idea here is this, that I put in the middle of the I put in the cells, the entire chain that you were referring, and on the rows I put the product, I don't know if, here is the product manager of the product A, product B, and so on and so forth. And then here I got the vice presidents, or let's say another still important figure. And again, as before, I have also president, so we are still talking about a top-down approach. But now, given this model, which are the limits in your opinion? Yeah.
You have a cross dependency between the product manager and the manager of the sections.
Yeah, exactly. So I have two issues. So first of all, I have to minimize two different uncertainties, because one is related to the product and the other to the functions of the matrix. And then there is also this problem. So if I work, let's say here in that part of the matrix, I have two managers actually, if you think about it, because I have to speak both with the vice president of the manufacturing and the manager of product A. So in this sense, okay, the main problem has I guess, okay, it is the double line of command. Okay, so there are too many dependencies in this model. Okay, so how can well, I spoiled it. Like, which can be a solution to minimize also the double line of command dependence. Well, it is not straightforward as before, because the next one is kind of a different model. But the idea is that I can create a constellation, okay, in which each point of this network, of this graph, is actually one of the core business, okay, of the company. So what you can see is that there are still some uncertainties, which are represented actually by the link that should be minimized, okay. But what you have here is that each node has some dependence with the core activity, and then the dependencies are just with the other division or with the other products actually that there are in the network. Now let's go. Let's say which are the limits in your opinion and the advantages of this model? Yeah.
I am more flexible, but I have more uncertainty. Maybe.
Yeah. Exactly. So I gain the flexibility, okay, but I have a lack of uncertainty. So let's go this kind of model instead can be applied to an open or a closed innovation environment in your opinion. Sorry?
More to an open environment.
Yeah, well, it is more related to open environments usually. Can you actually give me, like, I don't know, an example of a company that you have in mind that use this kind of approach?
Someone said something?
Unity N.
Yeah. More or less, I would say that maybe it is more related to other structures.
Maybe divisional.
Yeah, I would say so because can you try to map Unity and University of Trento with this network?
If you consider the rettorato, the one in the center, okay, but
Yeah, if there is a shared knowledge between departments, but they have some flexibility.
This is already a missed point actually. There is no knowledge transferring, for example, with the math department, and this is one of the bigger issues.
you have another view of the university we don't have, which is good.
Yeah.
We didn't know about that.
So yeah, but still, the University of Trento is a good example. So can you think about another model that we saw? So we say this is the constellation. Okay.
There is the
Okay.
last one then.
Then there is the matrix here.
Any example of matrix that comes to your mind?
Okay. Well,
For example, the consulting society.
okay. Good. So you know a center?
Yes.
Okay. Everyone here know a sensor? Is there any? Well, it is nothing more than a consulting company in computer science and system engineering in general. So can you try to map a sensor with this?
Okay. You have probably on command there are like the human resources, the accounting systems. After you have like a series of project manager that follow. I don't know about the center. The computer vision projects for detecting the assurance damage, and there is a series. After there is a division that's made intelligent chat, so natural language processing. There is another division that's made computer visions, and there is alignment because they have resources on both departments.
Yeah, perfect.
This is good. Again on the center. Product. How would you better map if you're talking about a consultancy? Do they sell product?
No, these are.
They sell consultancy. So instead of saying product manager A, this is the project manager for a product, or it is a project manager for something else?
For a project, no, they work
And the project is related to a
client.
To a customer. So in fact this is customer ABB, customer Miele elettrodomestici, customer whatever, and what they do, they ask to the other colleagues who are like product in the product design, the manufacturing, the software development part, they ask resources to the colleagues. So one customer, one project manager from one customer, and then they hire hours, working hours from the vertical department.
Okay, so let's move a bit back to the other. Okay, so do you think that maybe the University of Trento can be mapped to this model instead of the network?
Yeah, now that I know that there
Okay.
is no communication between departments, yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So, for instance, can you try to map it?
Like,
What is product A, product B, product C, if you use that for the University of Trento?
Yeah.
You can have the department with the project, like
Department.
computers department, math department,
Yeah,
economics
yeah, exactly. So basically here in the line of the product, what we have are the departments, right? And if you think about it, if you think about the structure of a department, you will see all the problems, all the issues, and also, of course, the advantages that we have here. So multiple people with the same role, okay, but in
A
different.
private example of a division of an organization that comes to your mind, we named a few before.
Yeah.
Of the big company like Google, Alphabet, okay, so it's divided in sub-company or even Disney at this point. So it's not just Disney, we have
FCA, Fiat Chrysler Automobile is like that. Because inside there is Fiat, there is Maserati, there is Ferrari, there is Chrysler, and each of them are a company.
Yeah.
Okay?
And also, it is also true that in general, what they did in to this.
The reason
So
is
in
the pointer.
yeah, makes no sense at all. But in general, also the tech companies can be also mapped on a constellation system, right? Because if you think about it, there are shared knowledge divisions. Okay, then okay, we can discuss whether the innovation is open or not, but but the structure usually is this one. And
example of this, we insist on example of this. Is this related to a simple task or a complex task? In general, Georgian, complex.
Because also there are many uncertainties.
Okay. So if you think about a complex task or a complex work to do, which type of organization come to your mind? Something very complex for humankind. Something very complex. What it is?
yeah,
You need an example of a company, right?
yeah, sure.
A company or an organization.
Maybe like Facebook, for example.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
it's,
could
I mean,
be.
it's not just Facebook, but I think that they communicate between the social network under their flag, and they share data between them in order to make the products. That is basically the social network, and
So
all
you're
comes with the
you're
social
talking about
network.
the corporation and not the
Yeah,
company,
yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah.
Maybe a phone company like Samsung.
Samsung, you think? Okay.
Okay.
That could be another.
Maybe startups, because there is a shared knowledge between the various components of the startup.
Let's say that when a startup starts as a startup,
There is just one node, right?
there is just one node. And you
Yeah,
have
the point is that when you start with a
function.
startup, usually you are that one, okay, and then eventually you can create your network, okay, but usually when you start it, you have just one point,
It's
okay?
very compact at the beginning.
Yeah.
So SMEs usually are more functional. You wanted to say something? Sorry, you?
CERN, it's as a company.
Who?
The CERN.
CERN. CERN. Who knows CERN in Geneva? Raise your hand.
You have,
Okay.
okay.
Why CERN?
Because it's very complex and needs a lot of resources, knowledge.
Okay. Other example like CERN?
maybe Neuralink, because they do human-machine interaction. That's really complex.
That's a company.
Yeah, Neuralink.
Okay. Okay, something different that in mind, Georgiana?
As CERN, I was thinking about
NASA,
NASA.
space exploration. You had the same idea? Who?
Yeah.
SpaceX.
Yeah, in general, companies that usually push research very forward can be mapped to a constellation.
And if you think about Boeing, could be this.
It's probably more division. It's there is multiple divisions, so like one helicopters,
Okay.
one space exploration.
Okay, let's go simple. Airbus.
Probably it's the same concept.
They don't do helicopters. No?
Yes, they do helicopters.
Yeah, I guess they do.
Yeah, but in subsidiaries. I mean, if you take the core business, so in Airbus or in Boeing, do they produce the wool
Airplane?
airplane?
No.
How do they work?
They take the piece from outsourcing, so like
Finmeccanica or whatever, or Embraer or whatever.
supplier.
And so, in that sense, the airplane construction are considered a constellation, because the engines are coming from Rolls-Royce, but they design together. The fusoliera, the central part is coming from Naples and Finmeccanica. So you have several parts that are done all around.
Yeah, but these companies that make parts don't share knowledge between, because they maybe have a project with Boeing, but doesn't share the project with other companies that make parts. So I don't see why it's a constellation.
Well,
Like that link to smaller nodes.
Well, the point is that the constellation, the nodes that are included in the constellation are, well, it is not guarantees that
All
we are
nodes are
talking about
connected.
different companies, okay? Could be also extremely different division of the same company. So this is the idea.
It is not a completely closed network. Okay?
Okay, so let's move forward a bit, because I think we're running out of time also. There is also, well, this fun organization, which is the spaghetti one. And yeah, guess what? There is no organization. So, you know, not a hierarchy. It is, it has been done for the first time by this company, Oticon, in 1988 in Denmark. And the idea was to have no job titles, no desks, no role, no projects. So there was a board, I guess, some post-it, and people just come in this company, take a post-it and work on that task in particular, and nothing else. Okay. So okay, it is curious because it may looks like that it has no sense at all. But can you see can you try to identify some examples that are using this structure? Maybe
startups.
Yeah, maybe without, of course, no desks, no project, but yeah, startups. Startups as a great example. Usually, startups does not have hierarchy. And also other stuff such as the roles, because in a startup a person can cover 3, 4, 5 different roles eventually, and so it is not well defined.
There is no hierarchy if you are the founders.
Yeah, also that. But other examples that you can find out? Well, in my opinion, the curious stuff is that if you think about it, on a daily basis, each company that we spoke about may use a spaghetti organization inside the team. So if you focus just on the daily approach, okay, to a project or whatever, usually it looks like this. So there is some kind of hierarchy, of course, and it is normal, but the project may be not well defined, okay? The roles sometimes, in some cases, may be not well defined, and so on, okay? So
another example on this, maybe not a company, but a concept that came out in the last years. What does this thing let you think about? I give you a hint.
Sandra, please.
Maybe we use this type of organization when we, for example, had to do group project.
Group project, okay.
Yeah,
Group
also,
project.
it's a good example,
Let's say
yeah.
that you have no job titles, no roles, no projects, or maybe you have projects, but you have desks. What comes to your mind?
Yes.
Open source GitHub project.
Open source
Okay.
project, yes. Something more physical.
Co-working space.
Co-working
Who
space.
says?
Yeah, great.
Co-working spaces. Co-working spaces emerge on this
Yeah.
basis, on this conceptual basis.
So,
Okay. What is a co-working space?
yeah.
It's like a technical hub where a lot of companies have like these offices and they can come or not. I mean,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I guess there is no need to be technical, but in general it is what
Yes.
you say. So
And there is no need to be a company. You can even be a professional. You
Yeah.
are a designer, you go there, and there are a lot of people around that are searching maybe for a designer. So you take the task just by discussing at the coffee break. That's the spirit of co-working spaces.
yeah. So how can you innovate using these models? Actually, I think that we are going to talk a bit about it in the in one of the next sections, because we didn't speak about environment. But the idea is that if you have an environment, you may be able to choose a structure that can help you or your company to shape, as far as possible, the environment as you prefer. Okay, and then eventually a company can also evolve. So there is you can start with a model, and the company can also change it when you become bigger or smaller or whatever. And this transformation, okay, the goal of this transformation should be the one to freeze the environment that you have around you once you shaped it. Okay, so can you actually think about a company that somehow frees the environment that it shaped? Freeze means that in theory, when you have done, it will be difficult for competitors to actually jump in, and they are somehow forced to ask you for knowledge eventually.
Patent.
Okay, patents. So who have patents? Which are the companies that have patents? Well,
Apple, for example.
yeah, Apple got a lot of patents, and I guess that if I'm not wrong, that IBM is the one, the company that actually have more patents all around the world. So this is how, for example, IBM frees the environment. So they do not sell computers anymore, but basically they live on royalties, I guess. Nothing, more or less, nothing more. So next steps for the. By the way, do you have any question on what we did? Okay, great.
With Lorenzo, we will come back to this concept anyway.
Yeah, we will speak about environment and uncertainty better in the next classes. So, actually, on Monday 21st, we will have the battle preparation with the second group, and we are going to send you by, let's say, tomorrow evening, the list of the components of all the teams of the battles. So what we
anyone
would like to
who has a problem to come at 1:30, so 1 hour before the lesson, because if we go to 4:30, there is one critical mind that cannot come, so we try to anticipate. But if you can come, would be good. So, but
Yeah.
you will know the name by tomorrow.
Yeah, once we will give you the name, just write us an email if it is a problem for you to come at 1:30, and we will try to find a solution. And the next class instead, it's a normal class, so on Monday 24th at 2:30 here. Okay. So
There was the first meeting last Monday. 15 of you, among you and Innovation Entrepreneurship Basics, met with Francesca. So can you quickly raise your hand if you were there? Okay. For you, well, you can discuss with your peers, with your colleagues, if they want also to join. And for those who are willing to understand what was going on, maybe I let you speak in 30 seconds what goes around. You, in the back. Yeah, please.
Okay, we share some ideas of what we can do together. And in particular, there are a lot of musicians in this group, so maybe we can create something related to music and engineering and software, things like that. Or maybe something related to also imaging or creating a game, for example, in video games that can combine these different things. For example, a game that combines images and photos and music together. These are the main ideas, but we are...
Yeah, very good. So you know that there is this group going on. There is a Telegram group. So to register to that group, you need to ask to Francesca. So write to Francesca.
or maybe also to your colleague.
Or maybe ask your colleagues. Next meeting will be next Monday at 5:30.
Yes.
Correct? So they are going to meet this skill sharing group next Monday at 5:30, as it was done last time.
So thank you so much.
That's all.